Hey guys, this is the demo of ServiceX, the GoJek clone by Appscrip.com. So on the right, I have the app for customers, and on the left, we have the app for the service providers. So let me start by by logging into the app. So we have these onboarding screens on the app. We can sign up with Facebook, and of course, we have a sign up form that we could fill out here. I can start by logging into the app. I can enter my credentials, which is, hang on, let me just remember that. Let me quickly enter my credentials here. Yep. iserve3embed at gmail.com. Put in my password. Just wake up my service provider. Yeah. So now my app is logging in. So when log into the app, we see the homepage of the application where I see all the different services. So we have we have a map first approach like Uber where we see all the services on the map screen, and then we also have an option for moving over and switching over to a more conventional list view as well, right? So we have two options here. So let me also show you the sign up process. So this is a sign up form on the left for a service provider where the provider can fill up this form to sign up. Let me start by logging into the service provider because I already made an account. So let me log into the provider app. I need to select a vehicle. So I'm logging in as a driver, right? As a driver who drives a car. So let me log into a not truck. Let's log into a sedan. So I log into this vehicle, and so now I'm in. So on the right, you would notice that as soon as I log in, I would be visible on the app. So this is where I am. So you can see the little sedan icon on the map. If I go offline on the map, the sedan icon would disappear after a few moments. And if I go back online, the sedan icon would show up again. So this is a lot like Uber or Lyft or other taxi apps. So let me start by showing you how we could book a ride on ServiceX. Again, a lot similar to GoJek. So I can click on the book button here. The app will then ask me for entering a drop. So I can quickly write in my airport as one of the options. I say Bangalore Airport. So I put that as a drop location. And once I do that, the app will give me a sort of fair estimate for how much this ride would cost me. So I can see the breakdown right here. Now, if I can book it for now, or I can book it, I can schedule a booking for later. I'm booking one for now. So now this other option where you can see the dependents is again a cool feature. This is in case I want to book for myself, or I want to book for somebody else. So I can actually add a dependent, and I can put my wife's name here, and I can mark her as a dependent. So I put this in here, right? Put this here. Choose a relationship. Do I need any? If I can also opt for special requirements, so I can opt for a booster seat or a quiet ride. So then if I add a preference, then the system would give me drivers or providers who fit my requirements. So that's a pretty cool feature. I can add a special instruction here. Please don't honk much. So the driver, this is passed on to the provider as a special instruction. So once I do that, I can see her name right here. So I can actually book the ride for her and I both together, or I can book the ride just for her. If I book the ride just for me, I have no preferences, so it's simply plain. But when I select her name, I will see the two preferences that I've set for her. So let me just book it for myself. And we have different payment methods on the app. We've added this PCI compliant Stripe as a payment option. Now the payment gateways that differ for different countries. We support almost 10 to 12 payment gateways depending on the country our customers are in. So let me just put in dummy card information so I can show you how the card is added. So once I add the card, I can see it here. Now we also have this wallet option on the app, so I can also recharge my wallet and use that as a potential payment method. So I do that and it shows up under my wallet balance. So great, I've got my, I also have cash as a payment option. So let me just stick with the credit card for now. Let me choose a credit card and let me see if the booking goes through. Now, if you have a promo code, I can also apply that. A promo code is usually added to, is added to get discounts on the app. So I can add that as well. I can also put in a description that let me know when you were about to reach. So this will go out as a instruction for the booking. So now I confirm this booking. So now the app is waiting for a rider to pick up the job. So on the left, you notice that the provider has got this job. You can see all the special requirements, the number of seats, and the driver has about 60 seconds to accept this. So if the driver is good with the job, he can go ahead and accept this. So once that's accepted, I get a confirmation on the customer side, and I can see the driver's information at the bottom of the page, right? So this was my driver, and this is the same information I'm seeing at the bottom of my page. So I can see exactly, just like on Uber, I know where my pickup and drop is, what is my fare estimate, and what is the pickup time, right? And who am I booking for? It's obviously just me for now, right? So as the driver makes his way, I can actually track him live. So I can, since the guy is right next to me, I see him right there. So you can car icon sort of overlapping. So on the provider side, I can go in and I can update the status of the booking. So once I'm on the way, I can inform the customer that I'm on the way. So the status is updated on the customers app. You get these real-time notifications that keep the customer updated. We also have a chat option now, so I can actually sit and chat with the driver. So I can say hey, and the driver would get that on his app as well. So he gets that message. I can go in there and I can chat with the customer. And this is all in real time. And the good thing is we're not using any third-party software. So this will not cost you any money to sort of run on your product. I can even cancel the booking if I want to, and I will be charged a cancellation fee. So we can set the cancellation fee on the CMS. So I can set one if I need. I'm not prepared to cancel for now, so I'll just say no. If I want to call the driver, I can simply click and call. Let me not do that. I can also share a live track link. So if I wish, I can share a live track link with somebody, and then let's say if my wife is driving and if my wife is taking a ride and she wants to, she doesn't feel too safe, she can share her live track link with me, and I can click on that and I can find out exactly where she is. So now let's update the status. The driver says I've arrived at the pickup. So I get the notification. Now the driver can start the job, which is start the trip basically. Now once the driver has reached the drop location, I would simply say I've arrived. And once I do that, the customer would receive the invoice for the trip. So I can see that the invoice amount is the same for both. The driver can rate the driving experience the driver had with the customer, and he can complete that. And the customer can then go ahead and rate the driver as well. So I can add the driver as a favorite. If I want to see the receipt details, I can see it right here. I can rate the ride on different parameters, and all this is configurable on the back end. So I had a great trip, so I can rate the driver 5 on every parameter, and I submit this rating, right? So this is how a ride booking happens on ServiceX. So I'll see that right here. This is the invoice for the booking that I just took. I can always go back in the history and see the invoice. So this is how the ride booking flow works on ServiceX. So let me go on and show you other parts of the app. We have the payment method, which we already saw. The favorite taskers, I just added John Wick as a favorite, so I can see that individual right here. So when I book, I can actually see if John Wick is available at that moment. I can actually go ahead and book one of my favorite drivers. So this improves the customer experience for the on the app. Right, so now let me show you the next feature on the product, that is the courier or delivery booking flow. So when I click on courier, you can see the different types of courier vehicles available. And these are all configurable from the back office. Currently, the provider I have is logged into the a bike type, and I can always see what vehicle I've logged into by clicking on my vehicle details in a provider, and I would see that I'm logged into the courier type of vehicle. So let me walk you through the booking for a courier. I click on the book button, I select the drop. The system gives me a fair estimate. I can see that right here. I can add the details for who I'm sending this to. I can choose a receiver from my contacts. I can look for my name, put that here, it puts my phone number. The next step would be adding the details of the package. I can choose the package type. We've just configured one, and we can again change that from the back office. I can take a photo of the package. So I can just say I'm trying to send my phone to somebody. I add that as a photo. If I need any assistance, I can opt for a handler. I can add one, or I can add more than one. So I select that, add some notes for the provider. I request a provider now. As soon as I do that, the provider gets a booking request. The provider can see all the details of the booking and can decide to accept it or not. Let's assume the provider accepts it. As soon as the provider accepts the booking, the customer gets the confirmation, and I can see the details of the driver. I can always scroll up and see all the information about the booking, who I'm sending this to, and what the payment method is, etc. I can see all the details. I can always go back and see the booking in the assign tab. I can always look at the booking and launch it from there. So now let's try to show you the booking flow from the provider side. The provider can see details of the booking right here, right? And you can see the notes, the job description. The provider can also call, they can see the details of the booking from here. And the provider can chat with the customer, just like how we had it on the right flow. So now let's say the provider is on the way. So he swipes right and the customer is informed in real time. Let's assume the provider has arrived or driver has arrived at the pickup. So we get informed. Now when the driver gets there, he needs to take some time to load the vehicle. So that's why the next status is loaded and delivery started. So when I do that, the system gives me an alert, and it will tell me if I want to add some photos to confirm that I've picked up the right items. I can do that. So let me go ahead and take a photo. I take a photo, like the provider takes a photo of the same phone and adds that and links that to the booking. Add some notes here. So I can say iPhone and confirm that. So that's done. And then the provider updates the status as loaded and ready. So when the provider gets to the drop, which is here the airport, but of course, since it's a demo, I'll just swipe the status right here. The provider can then, see the details of the fare. The provider can go on and take a photo at the time of drop just to make sure that the goods were delivered in shape and nothing was wrong with them. The pickup documents can be seen here, including the notes. The provider then captures a signature from the customer or from the receiver just to confirm that the goods were received in shape. Once the provider updates that, the customer gets a invoice copy and they see that right here. The customer can go ahead and rate the provider and add some notes, a review maybe, and confirm that. So once that is done, the booking for the courier type is complete. So this was the courier booking flow for the Service X app. I can always go see the past bookings right here, and I can always go see what the invoice was, what the package details were on the customer's app. So I get a copy of all the documents that were linked to this booking, and I can see the details of the booking right here. So this completes a quick walkthrough of the courier booking flow on Service X. Thank you. And now I'll move on to the next phase of the app of the video that would show the services flow. Right, so this is the third service on the Service X app, which we'll be talking about, which is the services. So we have different kinds of services that are supported on the product. The first one you can see is a tutor, which is what we call a marketplace and the hourly kind of services. Then we have plumbers, which are more on demand. So what is the difference between marketplace? When I click on a marketplace, I would see the provider's profile, right? But when I do an on-demand, it doesn't let me choose a profile. I just have to select the service. So it's more Uber-like. So in a on-demand situation, you will not be selecting the provider, but in the marketplace, you will be, right? And in the case of a tutor, it is important because you want to know who's going to teach your child. So the third one is electrician. That's configured as a on-demand and hourly. So what does hourly mean? When I click on that, the provider will charge me an hourly rate that I can see on top there. It's not based on fixed pricing. The next one is a fitness trainer, which is again a marketplace and hourly. And in that case, when I click on the fitness trainer, I would see the fitness trainer's profile, and I would see that they're charging me by the hour, right? So that's again a very common phenomenon in fitness trainers. Pest control is more like marketplace, and you have both options. You can hire the provider by the hour, or you can also pay for fixed services. So you have both options on this. You have the hourly option on top, and you also have fixed services. So again, all of these things, all the different categories and the way they work can all be configured from the backend, and that is why the Service X app is really really cool. The other category is cleaners. Now cleaners are on demand and hourly. The massage therapists, they are marketplace and fixed price. So I can select a provider, I can see the provider's profile, and when I book the provider, I can see that they're fixed pricing for different kind of massages, right? So for full body massage, I have 600 rupees. For back massage, 200 rupees. So it's fixed pricing. So that's how it's configured. Now on the app, let me also show you another cool thing that we've just added on this product. We have the option for doing multiple shifts. So we have that for cleaners. When I book a cleaner, I can also book the cleaner for multiple shifts. So what that is that you can book a person not just for one day, and you can also book the person for more than one day. So I can actually decide that I want to book this service provider for the rest of this month, for let's say every Thursday, the rest of this month, and I want to book it. I want to book the provider from 6 p.m. or let's say 7 p.m. onwards, right? So for an hour. So that's the multiple shift feature that you see at the bottom. I see the details of the shift. So I know there are 3 Thursdays in this month, and so that's why it says 3 shifts. And I want to book on in the calendar. You can see that it's all for Thursdays from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Right. So that is the multiple shift option. So let me walk you through one service so that you get an idea of how the app flows. Right. So let me walk you through a tutor. Let me select a tutor. I can see John Wick here. And I can then select John Wick's profile. I can see the details of John Wick. I can see the about me, the languages known, expertise, right? And I can also see the past reviews that John has got. If I like John's profile, right, I can go ahead and book John. And if I want to book John for, let's say, multiple days, I can always, one second, let me opt for the multiple shift. I can say, John, I want you to come the rest of this month to teach my child on all weekdays. So let's say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I want this to happen from 7 p.m. onwards, right, for an hour, right? So I want to book John for these many days. I can again, I can change my location. I want John to come home, so I can always add a new address. I can add my, this is an office, so let me save this address as the office. And I can say, John, I need, since I'm at work, I want my child to be taught while I'm at work. So I can add that. If I need to add a promo code, if I have one, I can also add a promo code, right? So the promo code is not valid, it gives me an alert. I can add a description, right? And I can also confirm how many hours do I want to book John for. Do I want to book John for an hour or more than 1 hour? So once I'm happy with everything, I can confirm and book. John on the left would then get a booking request from me. So for a customer, while the system is still finding a provider, it would take the job to an unassigned situation, and it would tell me I've requested John for a booking, and it's a multiple shift booking. And John would, on the other hand, see this booking option on his app. He can always click on this, and he knows that he's going to get 13 shifts here, and each shift he's going to make like 170 rupees for each job or each day that he takes this tuition class. So John can then decide whether he wants to accept the gig or not. Let's assume that John accepts. When John accepts the gig, I get an alert on the customer app, and I can go back and see that in the My Bookings tab. I can see that John has accepted, and John is, John has accepted the shift, and I can always text John, right? And I can always tell John if I want to chat with him, I can always chat with him and discuss the details of the booking, right? So you can see that John has been booked for multiple days, and for each shift, I would get a different individual booking, and for each shift, John has to update the status. So John can say that he's on the way. Once John is on the way, I get the notification on the app, right? I can always click on the live track and see exactly where John is. I can always click to see John's full profile, right? And I can always, let me launch the app again. So just starting me, so I just exited the app by mistake. Let me launch the app. Let me go back to my bookings. Let me see John, right? I can update the status over here. So once I update the status, I get a notification, right? And once John is home and he's ready to start the job, he confirms that he's ready to start the job, right? So job is started, and then a timer starts on both the provider and the customer app. The provider can at any time pause the timer or can start the timer, and for every such action, the customer gets a notification. So then John can complete the booking. John needs to capture the services. The services look good, or in case John wants to add something, he can go and add a new service. Let's assume I don't want to add anything right now. I confirm the services are confirmed. I capture the signature of the parent to confirm the tutorial was indeed finished. And at the end, the customer gets an option. He sees the customer has an option to rate the provider or the tutor. In this case, the tutor has an option to rate the customer, and that's complete, right? That means the booking, a single shift booking is now complete. When I go back, I see that on 14th, that's today, the booking is now finished, but tomorrow's booking has still not started. So when I click on tomorrow, it would show me the status as tutor has accepted, but has not started the booking yet. So this is how we book the provider for more than one shift. The provider can also see the calendar on his app, and he can always see he can always click on different days and see what bookings he has. That lets him organize his schedule, right? Now on the provider app, there are other options that we haven't spoken about. This is the history page on the provider app. We also have the earnings option here, where the provider can see exactly how he's been faring and how much money he's been making. We have a provider wallet option as well, where the provider can see exactly what's going on and how much money has he made. So the provider here can see that he's made 324 rupees almost, right? So that's a quick walkthrough of a service booking flow on ServiceX. There's also options for, when I go back to the services, I can even show you quickly the on-demand flow. So if the provider is, if I can see this provider is right here, I can always switch over to the list view and also do a booking from here. So I can always opt for booking a cleaner. I can opt for the cleaner and book John again. I've just created one provider for all categories. Let me choose a different one. Let me choose, let's say, let me choose a different one. Let's choose a fixed price service. Let's quickly say plumber. So on demand and fixed price. I can add fixed price services here. I can quickly go in and add that, right? And this would show on my cart. I can always request for now and later. I can say I want the provider right now. That's an on-demand flow. I can see the breakdown here. I can confirm and submit the booking. So once I confirm and do that, the provider gets this new request, and the provider has the option of accepting or denying it. Let's assume the provider declines, right? So the system would still continue looking for a provider. Let's make the customer also cancel the request. Right, so let's just cancel this booking. Now let me show you the booking again. Let me again book the plumber, and let me show you how the different payment methods work. Let me opt for a different payment method, or let me opt for the wallet as a payment method. If I have fee estimate will vary, so let me say I want to pay my extra in case by card. I opt for wallet as a payment option. Send a request out. The provider gets the request on his app. The provider sees the payment method as wallet and card. The provider can now decide to accept. Once the provider accepts, I get the notification. I'm on the assign tab. I can again go ahead and track the provider just like how we just showed it in the first section of this video, right? So that's how the booking flow works here. So let me just quickly finish this booking just for the sake of the video. So once I finish, we get a receipt, submit that, and get it done with. So that is the fixed price booking flow for on-demand, for the on-demand and fixed price experience. So I think that sort of completes the services booking flow on ServiceX. So like I said, we cover different types of services, different workflows. We have the option for marketplace on demand. We also have the option for booking a service provider for more than one shift. So those are all the options that are available on the product, and that is why we feel that it's a great product in case you're looking for adding services into your GoJek Like app. Hope you like the video. Let me continue the next phase of the video by showing you the next services, which would be the Uber for Kids option under the rides experience. Thank you. Hey guys, so this is the fourth in the series of videos for ServiceX. This is the one with the ride booking flow, or kid ride booking flow rather. So for kids, when you're booking a ride for your kids, the most important thing is the person you're booking, because you want to make sure that the kid is being, carried by a person you trust. So that's why instead of vehicles, which you would notice for a ride, we show the person's profile on the map here. So that is the difference, right, between a regular ride flow and a kid ride flow. So when I book a kid ride flow, I would first see the providers who are available and online, and I can see what their ratings are. I can see more about them. I can also see the car they drive, because this is again important, because it matters to me if the driver is driving a safe car or not when I'm sending my kid, right? I can also mention the special features on the vehicle. Uh, so that can also be seen here, and I can click on the booking button and initiate a booking request. Let me say I want to book a trip to the airport for my child. I can opt to do that, and also there's the option for multiple shifts again. I have the option for now schedule, and I can schedule multiple bookings for my kid. Let's assume I want to drop my kid or to the dance class the rest of this month at 5 p.m. I can just book the driver for more than one day at the same time. Or I want to schedule a ride for tomorrow, so I can opt in and say that okay, I want to ride today, but at let's say 8:30 p.m. and okay, schedule is not available. So the provider doesn't have a schedule, it would tell me that. So I can opt for a different schedule, and let's say if I book one for 9:30, no schedule available. All right, cool. So let me go first set a schedule on the provider app just to make sure that I can create a schedule. Let me add a schedule here, and add a schedule every day, duration this month, start time, let's say 8 p.m. up to let's say 11 p.m. right? And let me mark the address as here. This is the area where it will be available. Let me go try to do the booking again. Let me go book that. Book for a trip at 9 p.m. Yeah, now the schedule is available because I just set one up, and I want to book it for my wife, or let's assume that Shivangi is my child. I confirm the booking. Once I confirm the booking, it adds that booking to my calendar, and that is why it needs the permission to access my calendar. And once I accept the booking is now moved to the assigned stage. I can go in there and see exactly where the driver is. Of course, the driver hasn't started, so till the driver doesn't start, I would not see the details of the driver. So let's assume that the time has already arrived. The driver can start the booking, and the customer would get the alerts that the driver is on the way. The customer can track exactly where the car is. You can go on and complete the booking. Job started, job completed. And then at the end, I can rate the experience just like on the other booking flow. And yes, that is the completion of the right booking experience on Service X. So there are other things that we are adding on the right booking flow, which I can talk to you guys about. One is the dash cam, where in case if of course that is dependent on you buying the hardware. The customer needs to buy the hardware and put it on the in the vehicles, and then we can stream the insides of the vehicle to the parent, so the parent feels safer. We're also adding GPS alert. So let's assume that there's a fixed route from the customer's address to the drop. We're adding an option to send the parents alerts if in case the driver has taken a diversion from the fixed route, right? That's another safety option that we're adding. And yeah, these are the two big things that would be added. And of course, we'll be working on adding the feature of booking more than or for the driver to kind of take more than one child. So yeah, so this is the kid ride experience on Service X. On the next video, I will be covering the valet booking flow. So where you can book valet, a valet to drive your car home. So go on and watch that if you guys are interested in that experience. Thank you. This is the fourth in the series of videos for Service X, and I'll be covering the valet flow in this one. So when I book a valet, we have two options. We can book an on-demand valet where it doesn't matter who the valet is, and I just book the valet. That's one option. Or if it matters who the valet is and I want to see the valet's profile, then I can opt in for this feature where I can select the valet. Let's say I opt in for the experience where I need to select the valet. I can read more about the the potential valet, and the valet basically means that I want to book someone to drive my car home. Let's say I'm out on a I've just had one too many drinks at the bar and I need someone to drive my vehicle. I can do that in the valet experience. So let's say I want to book John and tell John I want to go back to the office. So and I need that request now. I need someone to drive me home right now. I can add the dependents and do all this stuff and confirm the booking. So John would then get that request as you see here, and John can accept that. If John accepts that booking, it I can see exactly where John is, right? And John can then go on and say he's on the way to meet me. And once John arrives, he can mention that he's arrived at the pickup point. So at this point, John would say, okay, he's ready to start the job. John goes from address A to address B. Once he reaches the destination address, John can complete the booking, and I would get the receipt. I can rate the experience I had with John, and John can do the same. So this is more of how the valet experience works, right? Let me show you the same thing in the on-demand experience. I say I want a driver. I want someone to drop me to the office. Now let's take another situation where I need someone to, I need a driver for more than one day. And I can say I want a driver this week because I'm not feeling too good. I can say I want one on Wednesday. I can say Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I need a driver to drive me home in the morning. So I can say 6 in the morning. I need a driver, and so you can see on the app that I can see that I'm booking the driver for more than one shift, 2 shifts really, right? So I can then let's say I can then opt in for any special requirements. I have none. I can send the request out. Now the provider has a schedule available, so when he accepts it, the valet would get a request for 3 gigs. So he now has bookings for 3 days. He has one for 15, he has one for 16 and 17, right? So that's how the the valet experience works. and for each day I can opt in, and I can start the job. I can let the customer know that I'm on the way and I've accepted the job, and I can update the status for each day. So that is how the Valet experience works. Of course, we have the same options of chatting, which we've already shown on the previous videos. So I'm going to skip all that and just sort of move to the next experience on the app, right? So that's a quick video of how the Valet flow works on Service X. Hope you guys like the video, and continue watching the series of videos we'll be adding for Service X. There'll be a lot more coming. Thank you very much.